You are tuned in to On Air with Chris Shanafelt. Welcome back On Air with Chris Shanafelt. As we continue our Player Spotlight show, it's a pleasure to now welcome onto the show wide receiver out of North Central College in Naperville. He's Andrew Kaminsky. And Andrew, I appreciate you taking some time this evening. How's everything going, man?
Good, man. Thank you for taking the time to interview me. And everything's going good. Just having a low-key chill night doing some homework.
Hey, there you go. And, Andrew, I wanted to get you on the show to talk about this special season that you guys recently capped off. It couldn't have been any better for you individually, any better for the Cardinals football team as a team. You guys finished the regular season 9-1. And then a perfect 5-0 in the NCAA Division III playoffs, including a decisive victory over Wisconsin Whitewater, 41-14 in the championship game known as the Stag Bowl. You know, what was it like to not only play in the Stag Bowl, but to dominate from start to finish and walk out as a national champion?
It was a dream come true. As an athlete, you dream of winning a national championship. As a little kid, you dream of playing in the big games. And just to make that reality come true, it's words don't describe the feeling. But the reason why we're able to do what we did was we have a great coaching staff. We trust them. They come up with the best game plan possible, and then we got to hand it off to our offensive line. They played outstanding. They allowed us to do whatever we wanted to do on offense, and that with them being capable of doing that, we had no worries on offense that we were going to put up points.
Yeah, and as they say, it always starts at the line of scrimmage with the offensive line and the defensive line. And, you guys put up some mind-blowing numbers on the offensive side of the football. I'm not sure I've ever seen an offense with a 2,000-yard rusher and a 2,000-yard receiver led by the quarterback, Brock Rudder, one of, if not the most efficient quarterback in the country. Andrew, you were on the receiving end of 31 of Rudder's 56 touchdowns on the season. You actually set a new record in receiving categories for Division III with 133 receptions, 2,016 receiving yards, and 31 touchdowns. Just talk about the chemistry you and Brock Rudder had this past season, and how were you able to really just, as an offense, shred opposing defenses week in and week out in more ways than just one?
So my relationship with Rudder goes actually back into the high school days. We played 7-on-7 together. So I've known Brock for around 7 years now. So me transferring in and him transferring to North Central, kind of at the same time, this being our third year in the offense together, we knew what route we wanted to run. We both read coverage the same way. So it was just a matter of time before we clicked, and the trust we have in one another, the trust he has in me to be in the right spot at the right time, and the trust I have in him to get the ball right there where it's supposed to be. It's something you weren't able to teach. It was just something that me and him did together, and we understood each other. But then, that being said, you can't do it without our offensive line. And then for me, just to accomplish those goals is something that I've dreamed of as a kid. I've always wanted to be. I've grown up wanting to be the best, to play against the best, and able to do it at this level and be able to contribute to a team like this and give them their first national championship in school history is something that you dream of, and you can't really put words to describe it.
How much does the run game, Ethan Greenfield, he was a 2,000-yard running back there for you guys, how much does that help you as a receiver? How much does it help Brock as a quarterback? How much does it help the passing game, knowing that you could rely on a running back such as Greenfield to do what he was able to do this past season?
Oh, with Greenfield being able to do what he does week in, week out, it allows us as an offense to pretty much do whatever we want, stay balanced, and not have tendencies on third down or fourth down, or for heavy run on first down. With having balanced pass and throwing attack, a pass and running attack, it's kind of hard for a defense to play to know what we're doing. So with him being able to run and establish the run game every week, it allows them to not be able to. If they're going to stack the box and play man-to-man, then we'll throw it against you. And then if you're going to sit in zone and then I have to empty the box, then we'll just run it down your throat. So it's kind of having a two-way go.
Yeah, no doubt. And, before we started the interview, Andrew, we mentioned how Brock Rudder is preparing for the NFL draft. Any update on Rudder? I mean, how's that process going for him? And what will it be like for the Cardinals football program moving forward with Rudder no longer under center?
So Brock, right now, I haven't heard any recent update besides him playing at the Hula Bowl and then him out in Colorado training with out of wherever. I forget which agency he signed with, but wherever he's training at out in Colorado. So he's there till March. That's all I know about him. And then for the future at North Central College, I don't really expect us to skip a beat a whole lot. Yeah, there's going to be an adjustment period throughout camp and spring ball with the new quarterback coming in, but little does everybody know, we have 16 returners coming back out of the 22. So we're going to be an old team. We're experienced. A majority of our team comes back. So just finding those pieces that we need to fill, and hopefully we find them, and hopefully we can get right back to where we left off, because we have pretty much our entire defense coming back, which is pretty important to us.
Yeah, and that defense, as much love and as much attention as this offense gets, I mean, that defense was stout all season long as well. I mean, there's a number of games. I mean, 82-7, 62-3 finish against Carroll University. I mean, that was a very stout defense, a very consistent defense all season long, and they really pulled through big in the playoffs. For you guys as a team, when did you know that the 2019 season had the potential to be something very special?
We knew going in right away that we could be special, and we knew right away going in that we were good enough to win it all. It was just, when are we all going to buy in and just act like it? So we obviously lost that game week 4 against Wheaton, and then from that moment forward, everyone just said, okay, now we play with that playoff mentality throughout and attack the adversity. We can't be stopped. And then when I really knew that the season was ours and that we can't be beaten is when we beat Mount Union. Right then and there was a special feeling on the sideline, and everybody felt that okay, everyone's bought in, everyone understands what we have to do, and if we just come out and play our game and not worry about the guy next to us making a mistake and just go out and do your 111, we can't lose.
Yeah, I was going to actually bring that Mount Union game up next. That was, of course, in the playoffs. It was a shootout. It was a hell of a game. You guys came out with the victory on the road, 59-52. We know what kind of a powerhouse Mount Union is and the success that they've had over the years. They've won 13 national championships. Again, when you think of Division III football, that's one of the first programs that's brought up. Going back to that game, I mean, was that a game that you had when you found out that you guys were going to be playing Mountain Union in the playoffs? I mean, how excited were you for that challenge? How excited was this team for this challenge? And obviously, you guys were more than prepared for that challenge.
Yeah, it was something that we saw right away. So when at the time we were watching the playoff selection show, not knowing that, because we didn't know if we were going to get in or not. So we were waiting there to see if we were going to get one of the at-large bids. And we did. We were the last at-large bid, and we saw after round 1 we would have to go to Mount Union. And it was kind of like everyone was like, oh, wow, okay, we're going to go see what we got. But then knowing that it was going to be a shootout. We knew it was going to be a shootout as soon as we got the draw. We knew how good their offense was, but we saw a lot of holes in their secondary that they didn't cover well, and that we saw a lot throughout the regular season for us. We knew how to attack where they were weak in their coverage. So going in, we were really confident, saying, okay, if we're going to win, we're going to have to score more than 50 points. So we never really felt like we were out of the game.
Yeah, and you guys did exactly that. Actually, you guys wound up scoring 59 points. Again, very entertaining game, especially if you're a fan of an offensive shootout. Andrew, in that game, you were able to haul in 12 receptions, 256 yards, and 4 touchdowns. You were just unable to be stopped in that game. Like you said, you guys recognized throughout the week some of their weaknesses in coverage. Fellow wide receiver D'Angelo Hardy, 8 receptions for 186 yards. Looking back, would you say, is that maybe one of your better performances as a football player?
Yeah, that's the hands down the best game I've played in my entire life. There's no question. Hands down. At that stage and at the time of what it was and like the history that was made during that game, there's no better time for the performance. I mean, it was something that I still don't you go back and watch film, you're like, wow, I still can't believe that happened. It was I don't even know how to explain it, but yeah, I would say that, and then you can even throw the semifinal game. I had a pretty good game there too. Those I would say are my best 2 games ever. But yeah, Mount Union is definitely the top one.
And, speaking of Mount Union, the other day I was able to chat with Justin Hill, their wide receiver. He's actually preparing for the NFL draft. Any thoughts on his game? Are you familiar with his game at all? I know he had a pretty decent game as well in that playoff game. I mean, just curious, any thoughts on the game of fellow wide receiver Justin Hill?
Yeah, I respect his game a lot. I actually studied his film on what he does for when he plays, because I know he goes against his DBs, and I know he's obviously preparing for the draft, so he's capable of winning the one-on-one matchups in practice. So I was able to kind of watch his film on offense, breaking it down to know what he runs during the game, to know what to use against their DBs to see if it would have any correlation. But yeah, Justin Hill's a great receiver. I talked to him a little bit after the game. Great guy, and I wish him the best.
A few more questions for wide receiver, North Central College, Andrew Kaminsky, Division III national champion. Looking at the coaching staff, Andrew, I know you already gave him some praise earlier in the interview, but head coach Jeff Thorne, it seems like year after year you guys get better. Obviously, things came into fruition this past season, and it's funny, you guys were watching the playoff bid show, wondering where you're going to fall to, if you're even going to get in, and then you guys turned into national champs. What's it like playing under Jeff Thorne and guys like Brad Spencer, who played for the program, and now he's assistant head coach and offensive coordinator. If I'm not mistaken, he played the wide receiver position as well. I mean, what's it like being around those guys? What's it like playing for those guys?
It's awesome. It's really family oriented, since they all went to North Central College. So it's not like, the players here aren't just playing for themselves; they're playing for the entire North Central College community. Pretty much, we play for everybody who came before us. Coach Jeff preaches that every day and throughout. But to playing under him, you got to be ready for a lot. You got to know a lot. You got to be expected to learn quickly, because they're on the move, and they don't accept someone to just fall behind and not understand and not want to learn. They want attention. They want people who pay attention to the details. But and then playing for Coach Spencer, I mean, he's a genius, absolute genius. Any question you have about life, football, anything, he's got an answer for you. If he doesn't have an answer for you, he shoots his best advice to tell you what to do. He's a father figure to me. I love that man. He recruited me out of high school. Part of the reason why I chose here. But it's just awesome playing for a coaching staff that cares so much about North Central College.
Is it too early to ask what your expectations are for next season, or what some of your goals are for next season? I mean, you mentioned it. The majority of the starters from last year are returning, so I assume national championship hopes, national championship expectations are certainly there. Is that safe to say, Andrew?
Yeah, of course. Well, we did it once. We got pretty much the same team coming back, and why sell ourselves short now? Let's string a couple of these along. Let's see if we can go. If not win, go to the next 3 or 4 of them. We got the team for it. North Central College is on the rise, and yeah, that's our goal from here on out. There's nothing short of less. We did it, so everyone should now realize that North Central College is here, and they're not going anywhere.
We mentioned Brock Rudder and how he's going through the NFL draft process now. You still have one more year of eligibility, Andrew. I think there's certainly a chance that you can go through this process as well a year from now. Is that ever anything that you think of? Have scouts been in and out of North Central College, within the last year or two? Have you been able to chat with any teams or get an idea of how they might view you?
I have not had one come to games or practice that I know of, so I have not gotten to talk to a specific scout about my talent. But actually, I had a junior day for the Bears and the Vikings, ran 40s for them. I mean, if Rudder's going through it now, and I have a pretty good year this year, I would hope I would get an opportunity. That's all I ask for, whether it's to play in the NFL, Canada. I just want an opportunity to play at a higher level than this. I mean, I just want to go out and play my game and show everybody that you can be a small school kid and still live the same reality as all the big school guys.
No doubt. And, let me throw these numbers out again, because as impressive as these numbers are, The highlights, the tape that I've been able to come across, Andrew, is even more impressive. 133 receptions, 2,016 receiving yards, and 31 touchdowns. All Division III records, and again, those are video game-like numbers. We mentioned the team expectations for next season already, national championship expectations. What are your individual expectations for next season, Andrew? I mean, it doesn't get much bigger, it doesn't get much better than the numbers I just rattled off.
Yeah, so that's a question my coach asked long ago, and I go, Coach, I feel like if I get anything less than what I did last year, people are going to think like less of me. So it's kind of like a lose-lose situation. But I mean, no, my expectations aren't going to change. I'm a team-first guy. I just want to go out there and most importantly win to put our team in the best situation to win a national championship, because it's a team sport. You can't do it individually. But if I go out and play my game and just stay healthy and do what I need to do, I would assume it shouldn't be too far off from what I just did.
Yeah, I mean, those are amazing numbers. And then, obviously, Greenfield has another year of eligibility as well. So, I mean, that high-powered offense certainly should be right back in action next season. Andrew, really appreciate you taking the time this evening. Again, congrats on all the success, man. It's been a fun story, especially being here in Illinois, seeing the North Central College Cardinals kind of get put on the map and have the success that you guys had this year. Is a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to cover, and I'm looking forward to doing it again next season.
Cool, man. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to interview me.